Breaking news, Nigerians. A particular group made a huge demand regarding the Nigerian police boss, and also the families of the minors arraigned in court over the hashtag End Bad Governance protest. Let's find out more as we hit the news. But if you're joining us for the first time, you're very much welcome. I sincerely appreciate your presence. Kindly subscribe and please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Now, it's very interesting seeing that some groups, some organizations are turning up and they are expressing their concerns over these issues, this injustice going on in the country. Now, a non-governmental organization, Civil Rights Realization and Advancement Network, has called for the immediate removal of the Nigeria's Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, for detaining children in dehumanized conditions in police custody. Now, the group in a statement on Monday stated that the detention and the torture of Nigerian children who were arrested for peacefully protesting against bad governance in Nigeria constitutes a grave rights violation and a terrible attack on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, an international instrument adopted by the United Nations in 1989, in which Nigeria is a signatory to. It should be clearly stated that this act of the police is also an assault on the Constitution of the Federal Republic and a monstrous act on the Child Rights Act 2003. The group statement signed by Olu Omotayo stated. Now, they demanded the immediate and unconditional release of the children to their respective state governments for onward handover to their parents. The group said that 30 million naira should be paid as a compensation to each child and their family for having them subjected to physical and psychological torture at police headquarters detention cells in Abuja for 3 months. Now, this type of grave rights violation has never been witnessed in this country, even during the military regime. So they've demanded the immediate resignation of the IGP of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, and also that the government should compensate these children and the families of these children, because they were quite shocked that the Nigerian police at the highest level could be associated with such unspeakable professional blunder. Although it is quite unfortunate that all these things happened at this time, but they've urged the Nigerian Police Council to live up to its constitutional role and save this country from finally descending into a failed state. Guys, I must say, Nigeria is already a failed state. And there's no way we cannot, there's no doubt about that Nigeria is indeed a failed state to an extent. The IGP of Police, the federal government lawyers are very much in support of the arraignment of these minors in court over their protests. Now, they've tagged these guys as terrorists. You see, according to the federal government, they committed treason for protesting against Tinubu. But what can we say? This is Tinubu's administration. It is his turn to rule. Nobody should speak against him. That is the message they are trying to send. That is the message they are trying to tell Nigerians. It's either you go hungry and keep quiet, or you protest and you go to jail, or you protest and you get locked up in prison for protesting. So it's either you go hungry and die, or you protest and get arrested. You see, this administration, they are trying very hard to install fear in the minds of Nigerians. This is their own tactic of installing fears in the minds of the citizens. I guess they want to use these children as scapegoats. Let's not forget what happened to the other protesters. That's the hashtag End Bad Governance protesters, those that were arraigned in court. We also saw that during the remembrance of the EndSARS protests, some persons that were arrested during the EndSARS protests 4 years after are still in detention. Some of them are still in detention, and most of them have not been arraigned to court. You know, they were just arrested and they were locked up 4 years after. some #EndSARS protesters are still in police custody. But what can we say? Those that are calling on to Mr. President, those that are calling on to the AG of Federation, the Attorney General of Federation, and the police force, the president is very much in support of this. Mr. President is very much in support of this. So if Mr. President is not in support of this, he would have ordered the police to release them a long time ago. But Mr. President is quite aware that those children are still in detention, but he kept quiet. He kept quiet. While those children were in detention, he did not say anything about it. Tinubu never commented. No, he wouldn't. So those that are calling on to Mr. President to stop all this nonsense, Tinubu is very much in support of it. Tinubu, in fact, endorses this rubbish going on in this country. He's very much aware. So at this point, this country is turning into something else. So Nigeria is not a sane country anymore. The IGP is trying to please the president, and the president is very much pleased with what the IGP of police is doing. Because had it been Mr. President is not pleased, he would have sanctioned the IGP of police for making such comments regarding those minors. But Mr. President is very much aware. He's pleased. He is happy with the intimidation going on in the country. So Nigerians are up for a long ride. We are up for a long ride. Now, those that are saying he should be sacked, who will sack him? Is it the president that is in support of what's happening that will sack him? Or is another president that will come and sack him? Because we really want to know. Those that are calling that he should be sacked. It is only the president that can sack the IGP. And the IGP is the president's favorite. There's no way the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will sack the IGP over this issue, because Tinubu is giving him he has already told him, go ahead. You have my blessings. He has the blessings of Mr. President. So there's no way Tinubu can succumb to public pressure and sack the IGP of police. It's the chances are very low. The chances are very, very low. Just like what Nyesom Wike is doing now. And some people have been calling, oh, Wike should be sacked. Tinubu cannot sack Wike, because Wike is Tinubu's right-hand man. Same goes for the IGP of police. He's doing all these things to please the president. Nothing else. It's so terrible that they've sold off their conscience. Had it been, it is the IGP of police children that are in that custody, would he have permitted such a thing? Had it been his children participated in that protest? But there's no way his children would have participated in the protest, because most of them are abroad. Most of them are schooling abroad. Most of them are living a comfortable life. So they don't know what suffering is. They don't know what suffering is. So they wouldn't even involve themselves in such an activity. But let's just assume it's the child of the IGP of police that was arrested. He would have been released a long time ago. He or she would have been released a long time ago. But because these are poor man's children, they only came out because they were hungry. And because of this, they've landed themselves in a deeper mess. It's so unfortunate that this Tinubu's government do not recognize child rights. They don't recognize human rights at all. They always violate the right of humans in this country. It is the norm of the day, which is very, very unfortunate. So guys, I'm dropping here. Kindly share your thoughts on this.